Hey everyone, Rarity Dash here, time for another blind commentary. And today I'm going to be reacting to another installment of Horseshoe Reviews from Drowning in Horseshoes, or Manchild Inc. as the channel is called these days. And that would be enough to get me super excited on its own since, yeah, it's been a while, and as I've said before, I really enjoy this guy's content. I think it's absolutely hilarious and probably some of my favorite stuff that I've ever reacted to. But it gets even better because the one I'm reacting to this time, it's his review of Mod Pie, which is my favorite Season 4 episode, and one of my favorite episodes overall, probably my second favorite episode in the entire series. And, yeah, it's just one I really enjoy. I really love Maud's character. She's one of my favorite supporting characters the show has ever had, and, she's had some good appearances since this episode, but this is still her shining moment and where she was at her very best. And, yeah, as much as I love this one, I'm really eager to see what he has to say about it. I mean, he might hate it, which would leave me in a somewhat odd position after all this gushing, but let's hope that's not the case. Though if it is, it'll probably still be funny. I'm also going to be reacting to a handful of other videos that he put out, little short things that seem to be stuff that he put out in lieu of actually doing actual reviews for certain episodes. They are titled Simple Ways in a Nutshell, Filli Vanilli in a Nutshell, Who is Gonna Clean Up This Mess, Ensemble, Nacho Time, and It's Okay. And, yeah, not really sure what these things are, but they're all really short, and someone said I should react to them along with a review sometime, and I just thought I would, in case they're really funny or something. And those are going to be at the beginning, and then the review, and, yeah. Anyway, don't think I have anything else to say, so let's just get this started. Okay. And here we go.
Oh, Spike, how could you ever know what it's like to be totally obsessed with a pony, only to find out they're obsessed with some pony else?
Bitch, I'ma kill you.
Yeah, that about sums it up. Poor Spike.
Drowning in horseshoes.
She's an evil enchantress and she does evil dances.
Now, Rainbow, my dear, I cannot express my delight.
Yeah. Never sung in front of anyone.
Now, quiet, now it's time to lay your sleepy head. What if you find a gloomy gust? Making sure we make a good appearance at the gala in the garden. I'm going to see the
There are a lot of examples. Well, I don't think that one counts. This one is the big one, though, I think, since it's in front of so many ponies. And on a stage, of course.
I just can't bring myself to sing on stage in front of every pony.
Yeah.
Hey, has any pony seen my... Oh, there it is. Hey, who's gonna clean up this mess?
This is no mess. These are the carefully arranged pieces of a unicycle I took apart and will be putting back together as soon as Twilight shows me how.
Fuck that shit, bitch. Eat a motherfucking dick. You wanna break and lick a million motherfucking cocks a second.
Dear
Yeah.
from the bottom. You'll find it in no time.
I'm drowning in
Horseshoes.
When you find you've got the music in you. Find you've got the music in you.
Yeah! Rarity, you were awesome!
Thank you, Spike, but this is an ensemble.
Nah, the rest of you were pretty good too.
New kids on the block, suck a lot of dick. Boy, girl groups make me sick. And I can't wait till I catch all you faggots in public. I'ma love it.
I'm drowning in
Horseshoes.
Lots of Spike.
Come on in, every pony. Spike made
Oh, this is gonna be great. What's it gonna use for this one?
Turns out we'll need some more than that.
Is it because you love me that y'all expect so much of me? You little groupie bitch, get off me, go fuck Puffy. Bleed, bitch, bleed!
Wow.
I'm drowning in
Horseshoes.
I, for one, am very proud of you, Fluttershy, leaping into action like that.
I feel like I should design you a special hero's gown. Or a sash. At least a sash. Okay. I know what you're all thinking.
Ugh.
Why don't you just say it?
Hate this scene.
I'm sorry.
And this episode.
This is all my
I've
fault.
probably said that enough.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, Spike, it's okay. It could have happened to any one of us.
Act like shit don't faze me. Inside it drives me crazy. My insecurity.
Lots of great song selections.
But then I see my baby. Suddenly I'm not crazy.
Fluttershy's face there.
Makes sense when I look into her
Yeah.
eyes. Oh, no.
Gotta love that.
Horseshoes.
Okay.
Hey guys,
And
I'm
now the
back.
review.
Did you miss me? Don't lie. I know it's been a while since the last Horseshoe review. I was going to review every episode of Season 4 in order, but some of them took me a bit longer than others, and it all just piled up, and I got behind, and it became very hard to keep up with. But this week's episode was so good that I thought
Okay,
that
he
I would
likes it.
just,
Good.
Fast forward
Good.
back to the present and review an
Kind of a-
episode
of a
while
relief.
it's still new and fresh and topical and being talked about, and actually on time for once. So, without further ado, here's my review of Maud Pie. It's already been 2 weeks, hasn't it? Wait
Okay.
again! God damn it!
So it was still late. Well, making reviews is a lot of work, unlike the thing that I do. Sister theme.
I
Odd
suppose
choice.
before I get into this review, you guys probably do feel like you're owed a little bit of an explanation as to just where the hell I've been for the last month. And I wish I could provide you a really good explanation and really make you understand, but I don't think I can. It's just the simple fact is that the life and the work of an artist is just grueling sometimes. I mean, unless you're a creative person, you can't possibly understand just the constant torrential downpour of ideas always firing off in your head at once. And I'm constantly focused on various projects at once, always swamped. The workload is just tremendous. And I wish I had a better explanation than that, but there it is, It's just that I've been so busy working.
Yeah, I had a feeling it was setting up something like this.
Hey guys, stop! I Bambi the Beautiful!
Kids to go for the first time.
Looks like a fun time.
I'm fucking magic. Like, you see my shorts?
Guys, I found my dad's gun.
I would put a hold off waving the gun around until the left of the top sleeve. No! I don't care. Let's make Felicia's
He doesn't look like he's
it's
having as much
interesting
fun
how
as
Pinkie
the rest of
Pie
the
and
people there.
Applejack sort of have the exact opposite pitfalls in terms of characterization. Pinkie's emotional expressiveness and flexibility makes her really shine in her own episodes, while often seeming shallow and even annoying in ensemble episodes. Whereas on the other hand, Applejack's level-headedness and intelligence makes her a great supporting character, but tends to be ignored for the sake of situational wackiness in her own episodes. Maybe that's why I liked Pinkie Apple Pie so much. It gave Pinkie enough
That's
of the
a pretty
spotlight
fair
to be
point.
three-dimensional, while at the same time letting Applejack remain in character by playing off the zaniness of those around her, including Pinkie, which was a great formula for keeping both characters at their best. These two characters work particularly well as a duo because they complement each other by way of stark contrast. It's the old straight man and funny guy routine. Martin and Lewis, Dante and Randall, Eric and Feeney. It's classic chemistry, and it's from that mold that Maud Pie was designed, contrasting not only with Pinkie Pie, but with the entire colorful cartoon world around her. Maud is simultaneously a straight man to Pinkie Pie and an eccentric Cloud Cuckoo Lander to the rest of the characters. This is an example of strong characterization. Maud's personality is flexible without being broken. She might seem like a one-trick pony at a surface glance, but in truth, her characterization is strong enough to be recontextualized in relation to each individual scene without being altered. Much like a real person, her personality is interpreted differently by the different personalities around her. Pinkie Pie sees her as a perfect foil, and is disappointed to learn that her friends see her as obtuse and strange. She's just as quirky and comedic as Pinkie Pie, but in completely the opposite way. She's good. It's good. It's all good. This episode was awesome. Just like, really, every Pinkie Pie episode is awesome. You'd think I'd
Most
be
of them
sick
are
of
pretty
talking about
good.
Pinkie Pie by now, but I can't help it. I love her, and I love it when she's written well. And this episode in particular is one that I've been waiting for since Season 1. Ever since Pinkie's first Rock Farm flashback, I've wanted to learn more about her family. And after 3 years of waiting, it's actually kind of amazing that this episode manages to exceed my hopes. Maud was hilarious. Maud was awesome. And if you didn't get a kick out of her dry, deadpan droning, well then you're just a fucking dummy, man. I hate to break it to you, but you're a dummy. You're dumb. You're not smart. You know,
Love
it
how
shouldn't
blunt he
surprise
is.
me, but of course it does blow my mind like it always does. I'm actually seeing some people complaining that Maud was boring.
Wow.
That's the joke.
God damn it. Seriously, it's like every little thing with you people just can't get through your thick fucking skulls. Honestly, your idiocy astounds me. But I digress, I'm getting off topic. Maud was awesome in this episode, but as great as Maud was, Pinkie was even better. Pinkie Pie was written so well.
She is written really well there.
2014 has been like the year of the pink. And I ain't talking about Pepto-Bismol. Why did I say that? Right from the very first scene, you notice
Not really sure.
she's being quiet. When she explains about the rock candy, she actually has some warmth in her voice, and it helps to sell the fact that she's excited to see her sister. And she pretty much keeps that inflection throughout the episode. She's not just fucking screaming about how excited she is. And ironically, her excitement comes off as more sincere by dialing back her propensity for exuberance. And of course, we also get our obligatory once per Pinkie episode rock bottom moment to remind us that Pingliacci has feelings and pathos, and this one was really like, wow. I don't know what about it specifically, but this is the saddest fucking thing I've ever seen on this show. This comes off like a way deeper cut than being replaced by Cheese or not knowing if she's related to Applejack. This is like a soul hurt. Listen to that performance.
I approve of the background music choice there.
If any pony needs me, I'll be in here trying to figure out what to do with 200 pounds of rock candy.
Wow.
My favorite scene in the episode is this scene here on the train. This is one of the best scenes ever in this show. Think about this. Can you name a scene focusing on Pinkie Pie without a single joke in it? You can't. This is a first. Even her sad song in Pinkie Pride still had room for a visual gag or two. This scene single-handedly ties the whole episode together because until now, you've only heard that Pinkie and Maud care about each other, and you haven't actually seen it yet. So a point is made to show a brief scene between just the two of them. I timed this scene. 20 seconds. That's all it took to cement this as a top-tier episode. There's no jokes, no gags, no puns, no silly faces. Just 20 seconds of Pinkie being earnest and affectionate with her sister and having that affection returned to her. It's beautiful. It's okay, Lauren. It's all gonna be okay. Your spirit can go in peace now.
Wow. God damn you to hell. Surprise.
I had a vision for the destinies of all these characters. It's just
My eyes closed.
Now that that's out of the way,
Okay.
let's talk about autism! Maud Pie is autistic. Like, blatantly autistic. I would even go so far as to say purposely so. She is a textbook
That's one way to interpret it.
of a high-functioning Aspie. To put
I
it
can kind of see it,
scientifically.
I mean, but...
Now, I want you to understand something before I go any further and before you get your panties in a twist. When I use that word, autism, I am not just using it because I think it's hilarious, even though it is, but I do know what it means.
Nothing more
okay?
hilarious than
And if you
autism.
stick around and pay attention, you'll find that
Not
in this
really,
case
but-
I am using the word correctly. I am not one of those fucking retarded, maladjusted, bitter little virgins on 4chan just tossing the word around to sound cool and to describe anything I don't like. I'm not even using the word as a negative in this case. So before you thumb this video down and write me off and go run and tell all your little chat room friends and all your little message board friends how mean and offensive and insensitive Drowning in Horseshoes is, why don't you prick up your stupid little fucking ears for a change and actually listen to what I'm saying before jumping the gun and passing judgment? Ah, who am I kidding? You've already done it, haven't you? You've already X'd out of this video, left an illiterate
Probably
comment, and gone to
so.
blog about it on your Tumblr, for God's sakes. Nobody's even watching at this point. Nobody ever watches this far. I can literally say whatever I want, and it doesn't matter because nobody ever fucking listens to me anyways. Watch this. I'm in favor of slut shaming. Hitler was right about some things, and the mysterious ne'er-do-well is underrated. Now, there
Okay.
are so many identified traits and personality
I'll agree with
quirks
him-
that are
with him on the last
part
one,
of
but
the autism
not-
spectrum that in my opinion, it's only when a person shows more than a few of those traits that it becomes anything worth identifying. A few traits of autism, as the psychological community currently defines it, are: doesn't initiate social situations,
We're ever so glad to meet you.
We're just gonna have the best time.
difficulty with or disregard for the rules of conversation,
Whoa! How'd you do that?
I threw it.
spontaneous comments unrelated to the current situation,
Sedimentary.
Huh?
inappropriate honesty,
It tastes like apples.
Told you she was super honest.
introversion and aloofness,
I think it would be best if I just go back to the rock farm and spend the rest of the week there.
lack of awareness or disinterest in
a
what's
lot of-
going on around them,
I've chosen a few fabrics that I think
Really
will be
does
stunning.
fit.
Choices.
talks excessively about one or two topics,
I've written thousands. They're all about rocks.
minimal acknowledgement of others, ritualistic or compulsive behavior patterns, such as sniffing, fascination with rotation,
I don't know how long I'll be gone on my rock research trip. I'm glad I still get to spend some time with you before
Oh.
I go.
difficulty maintaining friendships,
I know how important it is to you that your friends become my
It
friends.
might be intentional.
But I just don't think it's going to happen.
abnormal use of pitch, intonation, rhythm, or stress while speaking,
I know how important it is. I've written thousands. I threw it.
play is often repetitive,
It's kind of like hide and seek, but way more intense.
It's like looking for a pebble in a haystack.
More like in a pile of pebbles.
That hat.
desires comfort items, such as blankets, teddy bears, or rocks,
It's a rock. His name is Boulder. I'm glad I still get to spend some time with you before I go.
exceptionally high skills in very specific areas,
Yeah, there you go.
difficulty understanding jokes, figures of speech, or sarcasm,
And what is the delightful frock you're wearing now saying?
It doesn't talk. It's a dress.
Pinkie Pie didn't tell us you were so funny.
What do you mean?
often quotes movies or video games. We did it, Adrian. Can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Kept you waiting.
Okay, this one is you and not Mod.
Hey, how did those get in there? Remind me to fire my editor. Now, obviously, the basic premise of the episode only calls for Maud to be the polar opposite of Pinky, but there's a couple of different ways to go about that. They could have just made Maud unfriendly, or grumpy, or gloomy. There's a lot of different personality types that could have set up the conflict of the main six having difficulty bonding with
More
this person.
Final Fantasy
But
music.
Considering the specifics of her behavior and how she's written, I really wouldn't be surprised if the autism connotations I'm picking up were intentional. Now, you can cry foul all you want and say that I'm just being mean or whatever, but the simple fact is that all these traits of autism I've pointed out don't just apply to Maud. They also apply to a very large percentage of the Brony fandom. In fact, I would even go so far as to say the majority of the fandom find themselves on varying degrees of the autism spectrum, and I'm sure more than a few of you watching this most likely can find yourselves relating to one of these traits, especially this one. And before anyone points this out, yes, the irony is not lost on me that I'm lecturing you all about autism through a brightly colored Pegasus OC, but the bottom line is this: the Brony fandom is, by and large, autistic. And don't shoot the messenger, because that's not me trying to hurt your feelings. It's not me trying to be edgy or cool or fit in with those 4chan mutants. Please, they're the biggest autists of them all. I'm simply stating what I've seen firsthand in the years that I have been involved with this whole scene. Most bronies are spurgies. And I have a couple of theories as to why. First of all, the show's bright and colorful, and that's bound to attract people with childlike mentalities, but I'm not just talking about the really severe cases of autism. Remember, it's a spectrum. I'm also talking about normal nerd levels of autism, the high-functioning, but still kind of weird and annoying variety. When this show first started taking off, the fandom was growing extremely fast, and at first seemed to be based on positivity and a very unique and special blend of irony and sincerity. So it's easy to see why the whole thing might have seemed like a big, happy, open-armed, online family. An exciting new place of like-minded people where someone who was having trouble fitting in with the rest of society could come to feel at home and belong. So it wasn't really the show so much as the fandom itself that began to attract people who were, how do I put this nicely, the dregs of society?
That's very
people
nice.
With varying degrees of social maladjustment or inability to act right. Lonely, empty weirdos with no one to love and nowhere to go. And unfortunately, a lot of these people, instead of using the show as a tool, began using the fandom as a crutch. And that, in a nutshell, is my problem with the brony community in general, and why a lot of you, frankly, annoy the fucking piss out of me. But the fact is, autistic or not, at least half of this show's demographic is in the 18 to 35 range at this point, and it's gotten to a point where the show itself can no longer ignore that. We see a lot more adult jokes in the newer episodes, and it seems like not an episode goes by without some kind of subtle reference to the fans. You can call it pandering if you want, but it's not really a bad thing. It's just a way the show is evolving, and it's pretty cool to think that the fan base, however horrible they may be, has directly influenced that. In some ways, it's even made the show better. The morals, for example, are a bit more complex and more interesting now. It seems like everybody hated the Breezy's episode. Personally, I thought it was okay, nothing special, but it's rare that I dislike an episode. In any case, one thing I don't think anyone can deny is that the moral of that episode is particularly mature, in the sense that it's a moral that's actually more likely to apply to adults than any kids watching. The whole
But it's something
idea of having
Fluttershy
someone in your life that you're too kind
should already
to
know.
and need to set free, that's an adult problem, not something that little kids generally deal with at all. So it's obvious that we've reached a point where the writers are fully embracing the show's older audience and are even writing the scripts to reflect that. And so we come to Maud, that glorious gray Asperger angel, a character blatantly designed to share personality quirks relatable to some of the more troubled members of the audience. It's actually rather commendable. Even though nowadays we're told to recognize it as autism, these kinds of personality quirks are and always have been pretty common, and people have always had trouble being patient with nerdy, spurgy kids who share those personality quirks. Lord knows I don't have any fucking patience dealing with nerds. In fact, one of the very strange ironies of my current situation that I often have trouble dealing with is the fact that the kind of kids I used to beat up in high school now comprise the majority of my fan base. And believe it or not, there is some small part of me buried deep inside that kind of, at least a little bit, enjoys having fans. I mean, that's why I keep my Skype address out there for you all to see. That's why I try to respond to your comments and inquiries whenever I can, even though I often regret it. And I hope that shines through. I hope that's apparent. I really do try. So when I see Twilight and friends desperately trying to make a connection with a character they just don't understand and failing miserably at it, getting frustrated and wanting to throw in the towel, believe me, I can relate. At first glance, the moral of this episode might seem to be just some vague thing about the bonds of family or whatever, but if you look closer, there's a much more subtle moral throughout the narrative, and that is the virtue of patience. Patience to treat the weirdos and difficult people that we encounter with the same kindness and respect as you would someone more agreeable or socially graceful. Watching the main character's growing frustration and bewilderment at Maud's behavior reminds me of exactly how I feel scrolling through my comment section, or God forbid MLP for 5 minutes. You people are truly awful, but I haven't given up on you yet. I'm still here, rain or shine, to impart my wisdom to you freaks and make you all a little bit less retarded, because, quite frankly, you people need me. You might not deserve me, but you definitely need me. And that's why I'm called the Drowning Man, because I'm here to baptize you. In the end, Twilight and her friends realize that despite their difficulty relating to Maud, there is one very big important thing they all have in common with her. And that's Pinkie Pie. And ironically, that's the same thing that I have in common with you fucking losers. Pinkie Pie, My Little Pony, this show is what I have in common with all of you, and I always will. This show, and video games, and sci-fi, and all this dorky, aspy crap that I love. This is what bonds me to you horrible fuckers. So, in a way, I guess it sort of makes us kind of like family. Although, frankly, I still think you're a bunch of idiots, and you make me sick, and I hate your goddamn guts. So, I guess I didn't learn anything. Huh.
Wow.
Drowning in horseshoes.
Well, yeah, that was pretty fun. Not quite as overwhelmingly hilarious as some of his previous ones, like the Rarity Takes Manhattan and the Bats review. But it still did have some rather funny moments. Lots of enjoyable bits to chuckle at, especially coming when he insulted his fans. That's always great. Just he has a way with picking his words, and makes it pretty fun. As for his points about the episode, yeah, it was pretty much in line with my own thoughts. He really enjoyed it, just like I did, and pointed out some things that I hadn't considered. With the autism thing for Maud, I was always one who kind of didn't really think there was much there for that particular comparison. It just felt like something of a stretch, maybe that people wanted to see with her character. But just seeing him go through and point out every single one of those points that can be seen with Maud, it did make me wonder if maybe it is intentional. I mean, the whole part where she rotates the rock in her hoof, that's kind of a bit weird. What other purpose is there for that bit of animation? I guess maybe she's just playing with Boulder and it's just to show her doing something, but it does feel, if rotation is something to do with autism, that maybe there is something on some level where they intended this to represent that. It's certainly possible. And yeah, just overall, it was a really good review, I thought. Really fun. And as for those short videos at the start, they were pretty entertaining as well. I mean, a lot of them had a pretty similar joke to them, just Spike and music playing, but the choices were pretty good, and it was worth a laugh. So, yeah, I'm glad I threw those in there. I probably will get to some of the other little videos scattered about on his channel in time, since he really does seem to have a way to make me laugh, so it's probably worth doing some of them. Probably not like the super long 2-hour podcast videos, but other things, everything else probably is possible. I know a lot of people say I should look at his BronyCon video, and yeah, I probably will. And all the reviews, of course, and probably some of the other stuff. Anyway, hope you liked the commentary. Let me know if you did, and see you in the next one.
Smile, 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 fill my heart up with sunshine, sunshine. All I really